All right, let's go. All right, Tim. What's the first question?
Okay, well, before we get going, season's back, and we're here with 3 generations of cherries. We got you, we got me, and your grandson, my nephew, Del, joining us today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
So we did a question we put up on X, Twitter, to ask you some questions.
How many questions do we have?
I think close to over 600, 650 or something like that.
Yeah, I may scroll and pick the top ones.
Yeah, I know. So, but probably the first question that everybody was asking Dad is about, of course, they're mostly about the Leafs. What about the Matthews captaincy situation?
Saw this question before. I've only been on once before, and it wasn't very successful because everybody went to the same guy with captaincy was taken off of.
So, they went back to him.
And everybody that had a problem went to him.
What do you think, Del?
So you're saying almost, even though Tavares isn't captain anymore, he's still the leader, basically?
Yeah, the guys are there, and
I always like to know how things started.
The conversation?
So what was the conversation like? Was it Berube and the GM say we want a new captain? Was it Matthews saying
I think they sat down and said we need a new captain.
Really? It's time, the changing of the guards almost.
Yeah. I really do. I really believe it. And they went to Tavares and they said, "Look, we'll give you another couple of years."
Yeah, you said that. You said that there was probably, this is his last year, that they'll give him a couple of extra years.
They give him a couple of extra years, and
that is a slap in the face.
It is a slap in the face. I don't care what anybody says. To take the captaincy off of one player and give it to another, there's something wrong somewhere.
As publicly as they did. I mean, he had to go up and he had to do news, and he had to smile, and they said, they pulled a Joe Biden on him, right? Oh, it's time to move on and all that. But and the funny thing is, Dad, you and I have talked, and Dad and I've said this before. John Tavares, to me, has never gotten the respect that he should.
No.
Even in junior.
Even in junior, he never got the respect. I don't know what it is. He talks a good game. I mean, after the games, he's beautiful after the games.
Yeah.
He says nothing.
Because remember, and I don't know if it was that he was the first player to go into the OHL draft at 14.
Yeah.
And when you were doing the prospect game and with all the top juniors, and he got hurt. Remember he hurt his shoulder?
Yeah, and it was put in the paper that I sent a guy out to get him.
Yeah. But when he got hurt, all the players, he was on the other team, all the players on your team stood up and cheered.
Yeah.
And even in the paper, they rip it. What are you going to do with Tavares? He gets 60 points.
Yeah.
He produces, yeah.
And he draws. He did draws.
Yeah, that if they're up by a goal and the face-off's in their end, he's going to take the draw. If they're down by a goal and the face-off's in the other team's end, he's going to take the draw.
So he's reliable, but not enough for a captain.
I don't get it, but we'll see what happens. But I felt bad for Tavares. That was not a...
Well... He seemed to be awful happy.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe
a lot of stress off his shoulders.
Yeah, now it's on.
Now it's up to Matthews and making it $11 million.
Score goals and be a captain now. All right, Papa. The next question is: how many goals will Matthews score this season?
I say he won't get 50.
No,
and I say he won't get 50 this year.
Yeah, you just. Too much pressure on him?
Well, just the captaincy and the whole deal. He's got to think about things and everything like that. I just don't think he'll get 50 goals.
Yeah, it's strange that you wonder why you just let him go. You just score, then go out and have.
I mean, the guy gets 70 goals, and you got to interfere with him.
Yeah.
Don't mess with his mojo. Just let him flow, let him go.
Yeah, let him flow, let him go, let him go. And I just don't understand it.
He looked. You and I were watching the game, the first two games. He does look to me a little off.
Just
Like he's hit like 3 goalposts like that, but he just seems a little off.
I don't know. I would not have made him captain and just let him go and let him go.
My thing is, I don't care how many goals he gets in the regular season. I hope he gets 20 in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what really counts.
Yeah, if he does good in the playoffs, then what's the difference?
All right, Papa. Next question is: will the Oilers make it back to the finals?
The Oilers will make it back to the. There's so many things that could happen. Like McDavid could get hurt, Draisaitl could get hurt, and watch them drop them then. And I just if everything stays the same, they will make the finals.
Yeah, I just worry about their goaltending. Skinner had one good year. That's scary. Personally, I don't think they will.
You don't think they will?
No, even though Colorado lost last night, I think Colorado's got a chip on their shoulder. Dallas is, they're right behind them to win the cup.
Well,
I think Dallas, and if Edmonton, I root for Edmonton because I like to see McDavid get the Stanley Cup. But if they can't, and the Leafs can't, I'd like to see Dallas because I like to see Pete DeBoer and Steve Spott win a cup.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun with those guys before.
Yeah, but you and Dad and I were watching the game, and that Toronto-Pittsburgh game was not a fun game to watch.
All the games seem to be alike. I should say what I noticed in the games that I've watched.
Yeah.
First of all, I noticed that the equipment in some of the goaltenders, the equipment seems to make them look chunky. Chunky.
So getting back to the Gar Snow days?
No, not wide, just chunky. I don't know.
Thick and stocky.
They all should be your size.
Yeah, but they're so big now, the goalies.
Yeah.
Like what that Hildeby, he's what, 6'7"?
Oh yeah.
And what Stolzar, he's like 6'6".
Oh yeah, he's one of the biggest.
And they don't have chunky goals like the goal pads.
Well,
Long
they're
and
both
lanky.
And they're not calling it chintzy penalties, which is good.
Yeah.
Well, no. Well,
last night on the Pittsburgh one was pretty.
Well, it was pretty good.
Yeah, the refs haven't been too bad. You know the one thing though, Del, I say, and I said this before, they have to do something about is icing the puck.
Yeah, it seems to be something with you.
Well, I was watching the game. It was the Toronto-Montreal game, right?
Yeah.
And so Toronto's got pressure on Montreal. Montreal's running around. The guy gets the puck and just ices it.
Yeah.
You want to speed up the game. You have to give more of a penalty if you ice the puck. And I say, if you ice the puck...
Danny Gallivan was like that.
Yeah, and he was right. So the Leafs are going and they're buzzing around, and the guy he fires it down, then it's icing, then the guy's got to go down, get the puck, come back, and it's a minute between the face-off.
Yeah.
They should do, if you ice every 6 times you ice the puck outside of a power play, it's a penalty.
Really?
That's what I think, because you just...
Well, Danny Gallivan, he said you get a penalty if you ace.
He was even worse. He was saying if you do it once, you get a penalty.
Oh.
Yeah, if you did it. No, I did it once.
But that's what Danny Gallivan wanted.
2 things he hated in life. He hated the Oregon and Montreal, and he hated the icing the puck.
Yeah.
All right. Next question is:
we're going to do the Senators.
The Sense asks, will Ottawa make the playoffs?
Oh boy, that's a tough one to make the playoffs. If you go through and their division, it's pretty tough to make it.
Yeah, because you figure they got to beat out Boston.
Yep.
They got to beat out the Leafs. They got to beat out Tampa.
Damn.
They got to beat out Florida.
Oh.
And then Detroit missed the playoffs last year
by 1 goal.
By 1 goal, really. Who's coming out of the Metropolitan, right? So I don't think they're going to do well. I think
if they get a good goaltender.
Well, Ullmark played last, or Ullman.
Ullmark, yeah.
Yeah, Ullmark, yeah, Boston guy, but he played okay.
Well, as long as they get a good goaltender, they're all right.
Yeah,
They won't make the playoffs, but
no. What do you think, Del?
I don't think so. No, like you said, too tough. I like how they're like more of a broody team. Like they got to lean into that almost. And that's where it'll excel in the playoffs, but it'll struggle in the regular season.
Yeah. So what do you think of the Leafs goalie, Anthony Stolzar?
I think he's pretty good. I think he's pretty good.
Yeah. What do you think, Del? You're a goalie.
It was good, yeah. I like his tactics too. When getting back to like the icings and everything, I got problems with my gear. Referee, come help me out here. Adding a little bit of time to the icing, giving his team more of a rest. I like him. He's more of the older side though, but
because
he's career backup.
Yeah, which he's a career backup, right? So he's got something to prove.
He's got a chip on his shoulder.
And to me, I like him more than Wall because he has a little bit of a flow. Where Wall is very mechanical, right? And he's always hurt, but he's mechanical. Where this guy's and then last night, though McCabe screened him on the first goal, and Timmins tipped the puck on the second goal. So he hasn't had on the 3 goals he's let in. He hasn't had a chance.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, but I'm going to say something about goalies too. You and I were talking about this morning. So you came over and we watched the Devils and the Leafs play the second game. The guys on the TV were going how Markstrom is going to be, going to take care of their goaltending problem. He was the problem in Calgary.
He was the problem, and I remember watching the games. Everybody said Markstrom was the problem.
Right, and he did exactly what he did in Calgary. He let in. He put them behind the 8 ball. Then he played well. Then they got a goal. Then he let in another goal, and he reminds you of Hardy Astrom. No, there was Claude Evans. He reminded me of Claude Evans. Claude Evans was he let in two bad ones. Then you tie it up, and he let the third one in, and you tie after the game. Well, he didn't play that bad, right? When Sutter got fired from Calgary. His team that year had the second most shots per game and had the second least amount of shots against in the game. So they had more and they turned around and they said it was his coaching style. Well, no, the guys were putting the puck in the net, and Markstrom killed them. And for some reason, he was never the same after he signed that big contract. And he did exactly what he did in Calgary, what he did to New Jersey. So I feel sorry for Keefe because he's going to have that albatross hanging over his neck.
What's the next one?
All right, Dad, this one is, will the new Jets coach, Scott O'Neill, get them deep into the playoffs this year?
Well, if Hellebuck plays good in the playoffs, I don't know. He seems he doesn't play the same style or something. Something wrong.
Happens to him in the playoffs.
Something happens to him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't like to put the hex on him, but he's got to play good in the playoffs.
Yeah. I think they got to get to the second round this year to have a successful.
Well, at least the second round.
What do you think, Del?
Yeah, it seems to be a pretty good topic going on. It's all reliant on the goalies, basically.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Goalies are the biggest key to every team.
Every team we talk about, it's always the goalies.
Well, it is. I mean,
show me a good coach, and I'll show you a good goalie.
Okay,
so speaking of goalies, Dad, we got another goalie question.
Oh, another goalie question.
Another one. St. Lulu asks, did the Boston Bruins pay too much for Swayman? 8 years, 8.25 year.
Well, it's a funny thing. I mean, I know that it shouldn't have been mentioned what he was
Cam
shooting
Neely,
for.
that wasn't very nice.
It wasn't very good. I really believe that the goaltender should be one of the highest paid. Well, what we're talking about,
right,
is the goaltenders. If you don't have a good goaltender, you're done.
Yeah, but one thing with I think though, it's a little bit different. If let's say Marner signs for $12 million, right? He could have 3 or 4 or 5 bad games, and the team could still win.
Yeah,
but if Swayman has 3 or 4 bad games, the Bruins lose. and the pressure's on them.
Well, they're like a pitcher. They're like a pitcher. If they lose, it's their fault.
Yeah. Well, how about the New York Rangers, Szyzerksens? He wants like 11 or 12 million a year.
Well, he deserved it.
But here's the question, though.
Well, they don't deserve it. I mean, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You got to earn it.
Right.
You don't deserve it. You got to earn it.
But here's the thing. So he turned down a lot of money.
He did.
So what if he has a bad season? Like he let in 5 goals yesterday.
He's not earning that money right now.
No. So all of a sudden he went from 11 million to 10 million.
I'll take what I can get.
Yeah. So one of the most questions we got, Dad, is where's your prediction for the final and who's going to win the Stanley Cup?
Oh boy. I mean, a million things could happen.
That's right. 2 games into the season, who's going to win the Stanley Cup?
And McDavid gets hurt.
Right.
Yeah, they're done. But I'll put Oilers in the finals.
Yeah.
Take your pick on Florida, I guess.
Florida.
Florida.
What about a Leafs Oilers final?
Oh, wouldn't that be something? Oh, that would really be something if we get
The NHL wouldn't be happy.
No, they wouldn't be happy with that one.
No, it's like Major League Baseball. All they care about is the Yankees beating Cleveland.
No.
Because if they win, then they don't care. It's either the Mets, so they got the Subway Series, or they got Ohtani versus Judd if Dodgers win. So they're just, please don't let Cleveland ruin this party. But I don't think the NHL would be happy with a Leaf. I'll tell you one thing though, there'd be a lot of ratings.
Well, Canada
would be
ratings.
yeah. But, like the one guy says, Canadians buy sneakers too. Speaking of watching the game, you notice, Del, what's missing while you watch the game? What don't you see anymore?
Jerseys, I guess.
No. Beer commercials.
Oh, I guess, yeah, it's all betting commercials.
It's all betting. No more. Remember, it used to be beer, and they used to. I remember the people who were saying, "Oh, it's terrible how the beer commercials." Remember that all the trouble you did that Bubba can, and you got in trouble for that.
When good guys get together,
Beer.
Oh yeah, beer. And they were singing that song. The kids are singing that song going up to the games.
Right. But it's weird how there's no more beer commercials. Like,
well, Molson's was.
Yeah, Molson's does, I think, the Leafs weekend, or the weekday. But yeah, it's good. So I'm going to pick Dallas and the Leafs in the finals.
Dallas and Leafs in the finals. Boy, you're going to.
Well, right now, the odds are for winning is the Oilers are favored to win the Cup.
Yeah.
Then the Panthers. Then Dallas, New Jersey. Too bad you can't bet against that. Hurricanes, Leafs, Rangers, Avs, Preds, and Bruins.
Yeah, well, I'll take Oilers and whoever they play.
Yeah, you said Panthers. What do you think, Del?
I would really like to see Dallas. I've always liked them, but they've always just seemed never to make it.
Yeah,
you want to see them win. I like them, and then you got to go with Toronto. Would be fun to see.
Yeah,
it would be finally getting there to the end.
But just a heartbreak if they lose in the finals.
Yeah.
I mean, what's worse? Is it worse getting knocked out first round, or is it worse losing in the finals?
It's worse losing in the finals. Really.
Yeah. So you coached first year. Tony Esposito knocked you out of the first round.
I remember,
and then you met the greatest team ever, the Montreal Canadiens, 3 years in a row. What was tougher to deal with?
Losing the first round of the playoffs.
It was tougher than losing to Montreal?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to wrap it up now, and we'd just like to thank everybody for all their thoughts and prayers with the passing of Cindy. She'll be sorely missed, and, last night they did a great tribute tour on Hockey Night in Canada.
Yeah, Hockey Night in Canada.
Yeah, so we'd like to thank Ron and Kathy and Shirelli and everybody at Hockey Night in Canada for doing that. Everything. So she's sorely missed, but I know every Sunday she'll be with us here in spirit.